This year I've decided I want to revisit some games that I've played previously and work on 100% in them, in order to bring up the number of perfect games that I have on Steam. I want to make a video every month summarising which games I've 100%ed and the struggles that have come with each of them. This was inspired by Twicer and Mr. Leaning's trophy cleanup videos, but as you can probably tell, I'm on PC, so we'll be calling them achievements and looking at the Steam stats for our progress. Jumping straight into it, the first game that I perfected this year was Descenders. Descenders is a mountain bike game with a career mode that sees you riding through 4 or 5 different areas with increasing difficulty, and each area consisting of different nodes on the map which represent uniquely generated levels based on the stats that it shows you when you hover over them. I picked up this game in September of last year and was slightly addicted to it, earning myself 40 of the 42 achievements coming into 2026. The last 2 achievements that I had to get were Go the Extra Mile and Liquidity Pro Tour. For the Liquidity Pro Tour achievement, all I had left to do was place in the top 10 on the daily challenge. I've been trying this for a few days prior to this, as when you start the daily challenge you only have one attempt at a run in the original career mode to get the highest score possible till it resets the next day. In previous attempts, I would have just come back from work and started the daily challenge around 7 PM GMT, and I believe they reset at midnight GMT, so there would already be a lot of competition on the daily challenge already. And to be honest, I'm not the best at rep farming on this game, or really anything else on this game, so I decided that the only way I was going to get this achievement was by getting in there early. So in the morning of January 1st, I started my run using high speed, a variety of tricks, and double rep nodes to my advantage, and with that I just barely got into the top 10, but it was enough to get me the achievement. For the Go the Extra Mile achievement, you have to complete the bonus worlds in each area. I've completed a few of them before, but I couldn't remember exactly which ones, so I just set out to complete them all in one sitting. The first 4 areas aren't too difficult, especially because you can start from each area in the menu rather than doing a full run to get there. For the first area, in the Highlands, the bonus world is the construction site, where you have to reach the top of an obstacle course. The hardest part for me is just the first jump, but once you figure out the technique, you can do it fairly easily. The bonus world for the forest is the Mega Ramp. For this one, it's good to get the crew perk that improves balancing while riding backwards, so you can fakey down the entire ramp, and then you just do a bunch of flips and tricks to get the rest of the rep. It's not too difficult, but you might struggle if you're not using the correct bike, and you gotta make sure that you're landing all your tricks, of course. The bonus world for the canyon is the ranch. In this one, you just need to do the 3 tricks that it specifies. I remember struggling a bit when I first encountered this bonus world because it was a bit difficult to get the height needed for the 540, but it's relatively easy once you're familiar with the different tricks and how to pump. The bonus world for the peaks is the moon. This one you have to collect the letters of Descenders. It's not too difficult, but it's definitely worthwhile saving up a bunch of lives, as it's quite easy to hit your head or miss jumps with the low gravity. The only one that I did struggle with and had to look up was the letter on top of the space shuttle. I never even considered using the ramp to the door to get to it. The last bonus world is definitely the hardest, not really because of the bonus world itself, but because you have to complete a whole run and go through all the fire nodes just to have the opportunity to do it. I would recommend taking it slow in the early areas of the run and collecting as many lives as possible. Once you have made it to the volcano and you find the bonus level, you'll find that it's the kids' room. This is another map where you have to collect things, but this time it's toys. They're relatively easy to get if you know how to moon jump and you know which routes to take, but it might take some practice. Once that was done and I went through all of the finish lines in each of the levels, I got the Go the Extra Mile achievement, and Descenders made it as the first game of 2026 that I 100%ed. The second game I went for in January was Rusty's Retirement. This is an idle game that sits in the bottom or the side of your screen while you do other things. It's essentially a farming idle game where you can unlock different crops and berries and you can buy robots to help you with the watering, planting, and harvesting. You also make biofuel with all the crops that you harvest and convert those into currency to buy anything you need. I got this game in the Jingle Jam collection last year. Coming into 2026, the only achievements I needed to get were That's a Lot of Water and That's a Lot of Crops. These required watering 1 million crops and harvesting 250,000 crops respectively. They aren't super interesting or difficult achievements to get, they just take a bit of time. What I found to work for me is planting quick growing crops if I was going to be on my PC and could manually replant them, and planting the longer lasting crops with a higher harvest numbers if I was going to be off my PC but leaving the game open. Doing this every day got me both the achievements by the 11th of January. The next game I tackled was Boba Simulator. The premise of the game is that you quit your job to open your own boba tea shop. You start with a boba booth, and once you have reached a goal of $20,000, you can open up the next branch. Each shop unlocked will have more features like hiring staff, deliveries, and popping bubbles for money. It is a very cute art style, and it is a very fun game to play through. The features that are in the game are very polished in my opinion, and I had a good time when I first played it. The game only has 17 achievements, 16 of which you can get relatively easily just by playing through the game or playing the endless mode. The last achievement that I needed to get was Dedication, where you have to collect 100 boba coins. You only get one boba coin by completing a level, so you have to complete 100 levels for this one achievement. It would be more understandable if there was a decent number of levels to work through, but as of now there are only 8 branches, with the promise of more levels in the menu. The devs are still actively making games as far as I can tell, but it doesn't look like they're too keen to update this one anymore, as it's still in early access since December 2022 and has seen no updates since April 2023. This just makes getting the achievement a super long and boring grind, as you are probably only going to do branch 1 or 2 repeatedly to get the coins, as they are the shortest. I started trying to get this achievement sometime last year, but could only ever play 1 or 2 runs before getting bored. But this month, I dedicated a bunch of time to grinding it out so I could get the 100% and never have to think about it again. The last game that I perfected in January was BMX Streets. I started playing this game on the 3rd of January and managed to get all the achievements by the 25th. This game is just a chill BMX game with various maps that you can session on. There's no story or challenges really, it's just a fun game to zone out to. The game has 10 achievements, 2 of which are super easy, 1 for completing the tutorial and 1 for customizing your bike. The Balancing Act, Gen Z, and Sigma grind set achievements are also relatively easy. Mani for 10 seconds is no problem once you know how to start the manual. 3 times backflip is quick once you find a big enough jump, and the 20-meter grind can be done on California Alpha or Applewood Forest of the built-in maps, which both have decently long rails. The Giga Chad achievement was a bit of a struggle, but there's a spot on the Spillway map where it's possible. Doing this will also give you the Airhead achievement of doing 3-second long air. For the Hitting Legendary achievement, the only secret gaps I could find were on Jammer's Skatehouse map, but they're pretty easy to find there. The Fidget Spinner achievement was also a bit of a pain when I was trying to do it properly with doing actual spins and tricks, but I found out that you can just cheese it by spinning around while doing a manual for ages. The Lunch Special achievement I don't actually remember getting, so it's probably not that difficult to get while you're just fucking around playing the game. But yeah, BMX Streets is not a difficult game to 100%, so I'd recommend it if you're looking for an easy perfect game. And for the game itself, it is very fun, if that's the kind of thing you're into. And that was it for January. 4 games, 100%ed. You enjoyed the video, and I will be back to update on February's games. Hopefully keep this up for the year, and we'll have a bunch of perfect games under our belt.